Hello, my name is Tinashe, and I'm an advocate for family and domestic violence, and I am also a registered counselor. And working in this space, one of the things that is very prominent is when you hear clients talking about how they are so worried about, their spouse because they have shared about killing themselves or committing suicide, and they think to themselves, someone has threatened that they will kill themselves, so what am I supposed to do? And one of the things personally that I share about, because I also have got lived experience of family and domestic violence, and that is one thing as well that was mostly used in that relationship, that I am going to kill myself whilst you are on the phone and this person is very far away from you, and then they just hang up, and then they would not answer their phone no matter how many times I called, to put me on edge and make me fearful and be so scared of whatever is happening. And one thing that now, with what I know, is that unless if it's a child who threatens such behavior, of course they need protection, because you need to nurture them and you need to protect children at all costs. But a grown man or a woman is responsible for their life. We are all responsible for our lives, unless of course there is an illness or sickness where we cannot look after ourselves and we need support. But a grown woman and man are responsible for their life, and you, the person experiencing this violence or abuse, are not responsible for their safety. And many people will tell you that they are worried that, this person or the partner is hopeless at looking after themselves, or maybe, they cannot even cook. You'll be surprised how many people talk about it. They don't even know how to cook, to make a meal or wash up, or, they don't even work. They can't do without me. Wow. Or they may even be worried that this person would drink so much, or they will take drugs and they might overdose, that they'll be in trouble with the police, like they will, all these things are going to happen. I will say this again: a grown man and a grown woman are responsible for their life. Abusive people are very dependent on their spouses or partners, and of course, because they are so dependent on them, they become very upset at the thought of just losing them, or when they are told, I want this relationship to end. They cannot imagine life without the person experiencing violence. And then they will threaten to commit suicide to make them, to stay in the relationship, or take back their words and come back to them. This is well known. I can tell you, I was having supervision, I think last week, with my supervisor, and we were talking about this very topic of people who threaten to kill themselves if the person experiencing violence suggests that they want to leave. And I was saying to my supervisor that this is coming a lot with with clients, and I was saying at least 99% will tell me that the person using violence is saying that they threaten to commit suicide. And my supervisor said for them it's 100%. All the clients have said this. So this is very, very common. Don't think that what is happening to you or what you're being told is something out of the blue or something out of the ordinary. This is a tactic that abusers use all the time. And of course, it is very hard for someone who has got a caring heart to leave a person who has threatened to kill themselves. And the one question we need to ask, that when you're being hit or you're being shouted at, or you are receiving all these threats and you're scared for your life, you're walking on eggshells, is that person worrying about your safety or worrying about you or are they actually placing you in danger? So as much as you're worrying about them, is that other person worrying about your safety? I don't think so. So this means that you need to put your safety first. You need to make sure that you are safe. And safety doesn't just mean physically, it means emotionally, psychologically, in every form or shape. You need to be safe. And if the person using violence threatens suicide after you tell them you want to leave, or when you leave, tell them you won't let them play on your feelings. People who use violence, they are so much aware of the people that they do this to. Someone can't tell me such nonsense. Well, now with everything that I know, someone can't threaten me with such nonsense, because I would tell them to go ahead and do whatever they had to do, because it has nothing to do with me. But when you don't know this and you're living in isolation and you have been under, this kind of like control and threats, of course, you are going to feel some type of a way. But I encourage you, if someone threatens you with suicide, or that they will kill themselves, tell them that you won't let them play on your feelings, and that you will not go back if you have made up your mind to leave this relationship out of pity, guilt, or fear. One thing I want you to do is to be able to accept it and acknowledge that you are not a professional counselor, you're not a professional therapist, you're not a mental health expert or mental illness expert, you're not a nurse, you're not a doctor. So you need to tell that person to not play on your feelings, and the best support and help and love and care you can give to this person is to tell them to go and seek professional help and support. They are responsible for their life, and you are responsible for the safety that comes with such kind of threats. People, will tell you, recently there was a Zimbabwean man in the UK, it's been on the news, who killed his wife and 2 daughters. And, one of the things people have been quoting him saying that, when she was saying she didn't want to be in this relationship, that he said he cannot live without her. What kind of crap is that? Because absolutely he could live without her. He killed her. He killed the children. He's living. He's still alive, but they are dead, and their families have to now deal with this. But he's alive. He will survive, and he is still surviving because he's breathing, he's eating, he's sleeping, and yet they have gone through so much trauma. So those people who use violence will survive without you. Absolutely. You'll be surprised that if you put your foot down and you stand on your word, they will move on so quickly. You'll be very surprised. And you will both survive the separation. Many women, or people going through violence and abuse, will think, I can't survive, I can't deal with it. Of course it's going to be hard. It will be hard work, but you will survive, because there is help and support out there. And guess what? In the long run, you will be very, very happy. I am a very happy woman right now. I live a blessed life of abundance and joy and peace and everything in between. So you will survive, but it takes a lot of hard work. Until next time, this is Tinashe.